Hello, my name is Ian McCall, and this is a short video on the histopathology of a case that I recently presented in the Skin Cancer blog. This was a man who initially presented to me in 2007 with a lesion on his forehead that looked like a seborrheic keratosis, a flat one. I shaved it, sent it to the pathologist, and the report came back that it was a pigmented SEBK. 4 years later, the patient came back with this lesion here. And if we just concentrate on the histopathology, these were the 2007 slides that came back as a pigmented seborrheic keratosis. Let's just have a quick look at them. May need to obviously make these a little bit smaller. Now there's a degree of acanthosis here. Unfortunately, there are some abnormal cells here. These clear cells, this pigmentation, you don't usually see this in the epidermis. However, looking at the basement membrane here, again, some cells, but not enough to call this lentigo maligna. Then if we have a little look at the second one, again, you can see the basal layer of cells here, the hyperpigmentation associated with this cell, but then you've got this collection of cells here, another collection of cells here. So certainly a little bit suspicious. And if we look back at the third one from 2007 and concentrate on the side of a hair follicle here, then you start to get these cells here going down the side of the follicle. Now these certainly are abnormal melanocytes. So in 2007, I think this man already had features of a lentigo maligna, perhaps in association with seborrheic keratosis, but certainly some abnormal melanocytes associated with hair follicles in the area where the seborrheic keratosis was. So if we then look back at the slides for 2011, when we shaved that lesion I showed you before, these ones were reported as a superficial spreading melanoma, Clark level 2, 0.6 millimeters thick. Now, the unfortunate thing is when I shaved this, there was a couple of little pigmented areas here that I then had to do a punch biopsy on. So this wasn't all going to be in situ even clinically when I shaved that, and I knew it. So these are the slides from 2011. This is your epidermis here, and now you've got this collection of abnormal cells here, some in a sort of lentiginous pattern. These are abnormal melanocytes, larger clear cells, increased size of nuclei. Here you've got melanin that's dropped down into the dermis. It's in melanophages, and you've got a bit of an inflammatory infiltrate coming in. This is part of a sebaceous gland here. And if we look at some of the other images, here's another one with a lot more melanin. That black part that we saw in the clinical case early on, that's this bit here, where you've got a lot more melanin down in the dermis. It's quite dense here. Often this would look bluish, but depending on the amount of it, it can look black as well. And you can see here that this is extending right down to the base here, the base of where I've cut this. And this was part of where I said 2 dots of pigment were still remaining when I did the shave biopsy. And subsequently we had to punch that bit out, or at least I did it at the time because I knew straight away there was a problem. This is the third view here. Again, look at these abnormal melanocytes in a sort of lentiginous proliferation. Here you've got some nests of abnormal melanocytes as well. Some melanin dropped down into the dermis here as well. And this black material you're seeing here, often you can get atypical cells extruded through the surface of the epidermis, and the nuclei are left in the overlying stratum corneum here. And this can look very black as well. Often you can tape strip this off in some lesions. And we just have a quick look at the This was the biopsy where I did the punch biopsy. I need to make this one smaller. Apologies. And again, you're seeing some abnormal cells down the outside of this follicle. It's a bit distorted because of the nature of the punch biopsy, but you can see abnormal pigmented cells here going down this follicle as well. So this was part of the 0.6 of a millimeter invasion that there was into the dermis in this particular lesion. So all in all, this man had had a melanoma in situ at the very beginning. It may have been in association with an overlying seborrheic keratosis, but his melanoma in situ was there back in 2007. In contrast, this was another case that we put up, but in contrast, we then looked at the histopathology of this lady here, where she had just a vague pigmented lesion on her cheek. This was the dermoscopy. I did enhance the dermoscopy to show that, in point of fact, she had some gray circles. I felt 1 or 2 gray circles here. And that, of course, made me consider that she might have a lentigo maligna, but the issue was whether I went too early with the biopsy. Well, the biopsy looked like this. And you can see, you know, this increase in pigmentation at the base of some dermal ridges here. This is normally seen in the solar lentigo. And there really isn't any great abnormal melanocytes along this dermoepidermal junction. So I haven't really got much in the way of evidence there for a lentigo maligna. That's just a feature of a solar lentigo. But if we slip back and look just a little bit deeper, this was one where there was down a hair follicle, which is usually where you're looking for lentigo maligna. The issue is whether these abnormal cells come up the hair follicle or go down it. This was a close-up of one area of one follicle. And what you can see in this lady here, this is a collection of abnormal melanocytes down the side of this follicle. And though the pathologist has reported, he said basically, look, there isn't enough in this to really call it a lentigo maligna. I think this is exactly what this lady's starting. I think she is getting an early lentigo maligna, and these are the abnormal melanocytes here, with some lymphocytes attacking them going down the side of this hair follicle. So sometimes you can go too early. Sometimes you can biopsy so early in a lesion that the pathologist has a hard time trying to find any significant evidence of the lentigo maligna that you're looking for. We can see gray circles, and I think that is a significant feature in this particular lady, that this lesion was a very early lentigo maligna on her cheek. Okay, thank you very much.